Hello, welcome to the Wandering Drew. I am Drew. It's now Tuesday, January 19th. I've been home for a day. It's been a pretty busy day. I just wanted to give a brief update and post a video. Last night, I finally managed to get my video out of my last day on the trail and my unfortunate end to my Pinhoti Trail hike. Yesterday, I spent most of my day in doctors' offices. I visited two doctors, a podiatrist and then a specialist, and I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow with an orthopedic, surgeon to hopefully get an MRI done to confirm a diagnosis. I have a peroneal tendon, either tear or just tendinitis, which was causing the injury. I also have some fluid in my ankle, and the joint is obviously inflamed. So there is a medical reason for the pain that I'm feeling, at least, but I'd like to know a little bit more, and also what I can do in the future to make sure that I don't have a recurrence of this, because my plan is to go back and hike, and I need obviously that joint to be able to withstand, what I do on the trail, and be able to go multiple days without giving me any problems. So that's the twofold problem that I'm facing. I have to determine whether it's just a tear or tendinitis. If it's a tear, I'm looking at least, probably 4 weeks off of it. They discussed the possibility of a boot, which I'm trying to really avoid. And then depending on how severe a tear would be, surgery. But I really don't think that's an issue. I seem to have some mobility. I'm personally maybe just being overly optimistic, but I'm leaning toward the tendinitis and just rest of about 4 weeks off of it, 2 to 4 weeks, and then doing some exercises and strengthening and then resuming activity slowly, which is what I'm really hoping for. So I really wish I was back out on the trail right now. I would love to have been hiking somewhere along the Pinhoti toward Heflin, but that was just not meant to be. So hopefully I'll be back in several months to do that trail and complete it. I may even try and do the whole thing, but I will definitely make a goal of going to Heflin and then to Cave Springs. And then we'll see about the rest of the trail. So the tendon that I'm having a problem with is, from what I could do in my research, used to help stabilize the foot, especially on uneven ground, which obviously walking on a trail will do to you. So I guess the repetitive motion of the uneven ground and my foot trying to stabilize caused either a strain or a tear to that ligament, and hence the tendinitis or the tear in it. And I don't know what the reason is that I had a problem on this trip that I haven't had on others. And I have had foot problems in that ankle before, so it could all be related to that, and maybe I need to strengthen it a lot more, or it could be a combination of many factors. On this hike, which similarly I did on the same hike that I had trouble last time, I actually used boots, which obviously are a little heavier. Maybe that stresses out that joint a little bit more and that tendon. But I decided to buy Gore-Tex boots for the first time, and I bought these Salmon Gore-Tex boots that I bought. These are the ones I actually wore, and perhaps maybe they put a little bit more stress on that joint with the heavier weight and the uneven ground, and that combination seems to be a problem. I like the boots for the waterproofness. I bought them because I knew I'd be going through a couple of streams, and I didn't want to wear trail runners and get them wet in the cold weather. So I decided to buy these. I didn't really wear these, in practice hikes. I wore it one day just to see that they would fit, and then I pretty much went out on the trail with it. So I don't know if that's a factor. I never really, and I've had several brands of Salmon, several types, different models throughout the years. This is probably my 5th or 6th one, and I do have other ones that are like 3/4 length like these, but I never felt like I could cinch these tight and get it to wrap around my foot and hold it. I did go up to a size 12, which could be a factor, because I'm actually usually at 10.5 to 11, but I've been wearing 11.5 shoes now and they feel tight. So I was having trouble with my toes hitting the foot box, in the front on downhills, so I went to a size 12, which I didn't have any problem with them. I don't know if this is just the cut or something with Salomon's, but I could not get these to like cinch down and really grip my foot tight like I'm used to with my other shoes. So that's could be an issue. Maybe it was moving around too much, or maybe it's just too big for me. And even the slide locks, which I'm used to, I love these things. You know, the quick lace system, which you can just pull it down and cinch it. I've never had a problem with them coming loose, but these always felt loose to me. There were several times a day that I would stop and readjust them and tighten them, and I just don't know. I don't really think the lock was coming loose, but it just felt like it was. Like I don't know if there's give to the material, and I know at first sometimes the string stretches a little bit, but I never felt really comfortable like they were tight and secure on my foot. So I'll probably go back to another model of this, and I'm not going to give up on Salomon's. I like them, and I'll probably take these boots out on a hike again, especially if it was winter. It was going to be very wet because I wanted to keep my feet dry, and I got to say they did that. My feet were never wet. I don't think they sweat extra because of the Gore-Tex. That was a thing I commonly hear, that you don't want Gore-Tex because they don't breathe, and I don't think they had a problem with that. So it was chilly weather, and I don't think it kept them any warm or colder than others, but I definitely appreciate when I would go to get water or step across a stream, and sometimes there's no way to cross except by walking through, or you step on a rock, but you still get water on it. Even when water splashed on it, I didn't have to worry about it because it never penetrated the shoe. So it did what it was supposed to, and it kept my feet dry, and that's why I decided to buy them. So for that, they worked out well. I guess I'll know more when I see the specialist. Maybe he'll tell me what caused this injury, if he can even tell. But there's so many variables. Obviously, the trail, obviously my weight, my backpack, the shoes, I think the trail itself, and maybe my lack of preparation or fitness, all combined to make this a problem. But that's just a quick update. So I'm not really wandering Drew now. I'm more like hobbling Drew. But I'll know more tomorrow when I meet with a specialist, and hopefully he can make arrangements to get an MRI. I'm dealing with the bureaucratic red tape of healthcare right now, where I need to get, obviously, them to approve an MRI. So that's just a brief medical update. So other than that, I'm fine. It's good to be back home. In the other way, I was happy to see my family, and I'm using a couple of days off from work to run around and take care of these errands and visit the doctors, and I'll see what happens tomorrow. On the other front, the Pinhoti Trail, or what I saw of it, was a very nice trail. It's very well maintained, very well marked. There were a lot of blowdowns, and you can tell that the crews have really been out there. There was a lot of fresh cut wood. Storm that went through there must have really devastated that area, and the crews have really been working, because the path was generally clear. Any large trees were usually cut, and the path was really clear. There were several blowdowns that you had to climb around or over, but they were easily overcome. They weren't like, oh wow, this is going to be hard for me to go. Additionally, water seemed to be flowing. I know it had rained a couple of days before I got there, and it's obviously going to rain probably by the time I post this video. Tonight and tomorrow, I think on Thursday and Friday, there's supposed to be rain in that area. But other than that, you just have to plan out well. I have to get into the habit of not passing a water stop, even if I have water. And I'm pretty good at rationing my water, especially during the winter. Probably like most people, I don't drink enough, and I'm probably dehydrated. But water was really not that big of a problem for me. Only that next to last day, the 14-mile stretch where there's coming up to Bull's Gap. That was an area I was just worried about finding water. And I had actually filled up probably about a mile and a half before. There's a little stream. You go down a hill about 0.2 of a mile. There's a yellow trail. It's blazed, and you can get water. And there was enough water there that I could fill up. It was a little bit. A scoop would have been good for it, but if not, you can still get water there. I just dipped my bag in there multiple times and did more than one turn of filling up my bag that I do. There's not a lot of water pressure, so the bag doesn't fill up with water. It's basically just dipping it in and filling it up. So that's why it took a little bit longer. But it was a welcome break for me because I'd been walking all morning, and that was the first real break that I took. So I combined my break, having some food, with getting water at the same time. So while my gravity filter is doing its thing, I'm usually eating a snack. Other than that, I felt I did well. The first day or two, I think I had some trouble with the cold. I don't think I was really prepared and dialed in and how to deal with that cold. It was colder than I expected. And honestly, I can say my bag probably was not up to the challenge for me. I wasn't freezing, but I wasn't comfortable. I have a 20-degree rated bag. It was in the low 30s to upper 20s at night with the wind chill. The problem was the wind was really strong. The wind was anywhere between 15 and 30 miles per hour, which is quite windy in the tent. You can just feel that wind coming through you. And while I wasn't going to be, in harm's way with the cold, I certainly wasn't warm at all. And I think by the third day out, I had gotten a little more dialed in. I kept my clothes on. I didn't always change into my thinner, lighter clothes that I wear at night. The good thing about that is it lets the sweat out, but the problem is it doesn't keep you warm. And what would happen is I would already get cold, and then in the middle of the night, I was putting on layers. The problem is you're already behind the 8 ball, so to say, because you're already cold. So it definitely was better for me to stay warm right from the beginning, and I think that helped a lot. The last night out there, it was definitely in the mid-20s, but the wind was the difference because it wasn't quite so windy, and I think that really helped me, and I was actually quite comfortable even, and I actually fell asleep. That was the first night I could probably say I slept, at one point probably a 4-hour block without waking up. I didn't know that road was there, which about 4 o'clock in the morning, 2 trucks, I think, were traveling up the road and making a lot of noise. I mean, their mufflers were just loud as could be, especially in the silence, but even more so just because they were loud trucks. And they drove by, and I think they saw the tent, because either that or they just happened to slow down. I know there was like some water there, so people slowed down a little bit. And I don't know if they saw me and they were checking it out or what, but they like stopped almost right outside. So now I'm thinking I wake up because of the loud noise. I see the headlights and the truck stops. So then I'm thinking, okay, am I about to be, questioned or bothered with or whatever? But the truck kept on moving on and there was no issue. And I got to say, I was very nice. Most of the people, all very, very nice, friendly, talkative. Even when I was waiting for my ride at the end, about 3 different vehicles travel up and down that road. I guess there's an observation tower up there, and then some people were out there. I saw two Jeeps. They were out there, I guess, enjoying the road and doing some mudding or whatever. And they all stopped to ask me if I was okay, if I needed anything. So definitely very friendly people in the area. I can't say only 1 or 2 people kind of put you off a little bit. And, just like everywhere else, you just move on, say hello, and that's it. So 1 or 2 of the hikers I met weren't exactly forthcoming with being friendly, but, sometimes you're in your own zone and you really don't want to be interrupted and stopped and talk. And in that case, I could just feel that vibe, and I just, hey, good hike, have a good day, take care, and move on. But other than that, everyone I met was very, very friendly and outgoing and took interest in what you were doing. Like I said, I had several people ask me about the trail. They didn't know that the trail was there, or they see people hiking and they just wondered, while I was doing the road walk especially. I actually liked the road walk. People talked about the dogs. I know I talked about this in the video. I think it was my second day that I was out there, or third day. I found the road walk to be not a big deal. You can make good mileage with it. It's easy to walk, obviously, because it's a graded road. And the dogs were not an issue. I found them to be quite friendly, actually, and open to, if you're talking nice to them and you're friendly to them, they'll be friendly back to you. Yeah, they come out and bark, but the dog's just being a dog, But if you talk to them nicely, in my case, the first 4 dogs that came running toward me, barking, I just got down low to them on their level, put my hand out, and talked to them in a nice way, like I would if it was my dog. And I could honestly say that they tackled me after I pet that first dog. They could not get enough of being pet. So those dogs were just overly friendly. They came out like they were mean, but they were not. The only dogs that I had trouble with were, obviously, I didn't want to go in that yard of the house because I felt like I'd be in their territory. and there was one house further on, almost on the dirt road, where you come back to the trail, that had like 4 pit bull type dogs, and they were more skittish, and they didn't even come within 15 feet of me, but they were definitely more. They weren't coming to be pet. They were probably a little more standoffish, and there was 4 of them. So they just stayed their distance and barked at me, but I just kept on walking on the road, and I didn't have any problem. So I would say whatever fears people are posting, or whatever fear you may have of, a dog, and, people carrying, dog spray or mace at them, is probably unwarranted and unnecessary. I think just like with dealing with people, you keep your head about you. If you're calm and you seem assertive and confident, the dog picks up on that, and you're not aggressive to them, you're not going to have trouble. There are some elevation changes later on, especially in that mountainous area, and you have to plan for them. Obviously, it's a trail. You're hiking up and down. And there were some hard portions there, but they were enjoyable, and you earn your views. As I said to one of the comments, someone said, so like when you finally get to the top, you've been with these trees, and it's winter, so they're all bare, and you kind of get glimpses of the overlooks. But when you finally get to the top and you see this nice view, it's like, okay, that's what I was working for. And it's good. I'm really surprised at the amount of trash on the trail. A lot of these overlooks, I guess their locals go up there to party, and it's a shame that they do that, and they leave their beer cans or bottles out there and other trash, and they don't take it with them. And that always is shocking for me to see, the amount of garbage that is even in a remote supposed location. It's really disheartening. At one place, I even showed a garbage can, which I was shocked that there was one there. I'm assuming that's an attempt to curb some of that behavior. And it was kind of sad. I was at the location of the memorial up there, and there was 6 beer cans just laying on the floor near it. So not only to me is that, obviously bad that you littered, but I mean, that's like when you go to a graveyard or a memorial site and throw your beer cans down on the floor after you finish drinking. And the other place, there was a garbage can there. It's like all you had to do at the other place was probably go 15 feet, and there's a garbage can, and you couldn't even do that. It's like, I'm sure that person would not be happy if I went to their yard and threw beer cans out. But I guess they figure it's outside, it's out in the woods, nobody cares. Well, somebody cares, and someone's got to clean that up somehow, or it's going to just end up as garbage somewhere else. It rolls, it blows. At one point, I was walking down the trail, and I saw something shiny in a tree, and it was orange. And I'm thinking, did someone leave something here? Is it like a tarp or a flag? And it was actually a Mylar balloon that had gotten caught probably in the tree about 8 feet up. But I had to get real close to figure out what it is. It was off trail. I actually hiked over to it because I was wondering what it was. If someone left something, maybe lost some equipment, and it was a little bit of orange reflecting. And then I realized it was a balloon. So that's probably a balloon that someone lost down, in the valley somewhere or miles away, and drifted with the wind, and then finally got caught in the tree. And it stays there, and that might stay there for a year or two, before it finally breaks down enough that it's gone. So if we keep doing what we're doing, eventually these areas will become overgrown with garbage and litter. So, I mean, if you're going to pack it in, pack it out. If you bother bringing your beer cans with you, I mean, obviously you probably drove up there, throw them in your truck bed, take them with you, or throw them in the garbage. I don't think it's that hard, because I do it every day. Even when I'm around town, if I open up something and there's no garbage, I put it in my car or I put it in my pocket, and I throw it out later. And I think it just becomes a habit. And I've taught my kids the same thing. We don't throw garbage out. You don't throw stuff in the street. Even if it is a banana peel or an apple core that's going to biodegrade, it just doesn't belong there. So, okay, enough of that. Other than that, I really appreciated the trail. I definitely will plan on returning to it. Looking at this fall already, so I'm thinking several months ahead. Obviously, I need to determine what my ability is going to be, and then work on getting back into shape. So it looks like for at least the next 2 to 4 weeks, I'm done with any type of training or exercise. And then after that, it'll probably be I don't know if there'll be physical therapy, or, I'll just have to do a course of home workouts to build that muscles up. And I'm hoping that by building up the ankle, that will help the knee, obviously with the same type of exercises, but I think, you begin compensating for one injury and that puts a strain on another part. So while my knee wasn't really bothering me, except for that first day or so, my ankle was constant, and I may have been compensating for it and keeping it in line by putting more pressure on my knee, which then caused the knee to have problems. So we'll see what happens. I want to thank all the people that subscribed, all the people that left me comments. A lot of them are real positive, and I really appreciate that. It's especially when you're feeling down. When you don't do something you set out to do, you're a little disappointed and I wouldn't say depressed, but it definitely isn't a good feeling. And when you hear or read some of the comments of the people being supportive and just following along, it is motivating and invigorating, and it does make you appreciate that, because it's like someone saying it's okay, okay, don't worry about it. So I hope to come back from this and do a little more hiking on the Pinhoti. And once again, Nathan, Kim, Emily, thank you so much. Meeting Nimblewool Nomad was great. I didn't really spend a lot of time talking to him. I'd love to sit down and just talk with him all afternoon. Maybe if I go back up there, I'll drive up to the mountain, or I'll plan on taking a little time to talk to him. And amazingly, he's about to start the AT in about 30 or 40 days and do the whole trail again. So that guy's just an inspiration to anyone that thinks, well, I can't do it, or my time has passed. If he can do it, you can do it. Not because it's a mindset. He has a mindset that he can hike, and he likes obviously doing it. But he's definitely older than the majority of people that are going out to hike, and yet he's still doing it. And if he could take up hiking at a later stage in life and be so prolific in his hikes, then you can too. And you don't have to be like him in the terms of how many miles or trails you do, but you can be like him in just going out there and doing it. And if you have a chance, visit his website. He's got some interesting views on stuff. Some of it is against the grain, contrary to what a lot of hikers would say. But he enjoys being on the trail, and he enjoys meeting people. And I think it's great. I think a lot of his stuff he puts out there, and just his attitude is very inspirational for a person to realize there's more. You don't have to go sit in a chair and wait for the end to come. Go out there and do something and live, and be able to say you did something when you're done. So that's that. Other than that, I really don't have much. Like I said, the trail is the trail, and it was good, well maintained, well marked. You can easily do this trail with no maps, but once again, I would never recommend someone going out there without some sort of navigational aid. And communication was pretty much good all the whole time. Even if I couldn't make a phone call at some points, I almost always could send a text message. Even if you don't have enough signal to make a phone call, you usually can send a text message. And if not, if you walk a little bit, you usually come into a zone where you can send a text message. So that was very, very good. So feel relieved that if you're out there, you can get a message in and out to someone to get help, or to arrange for a pickup, or just to keep in touch with family and friends back at home. So that's it. I'm going to edit this video down, hopefully, and make it a little bit shorter. So I don't want to go long. But once again, that's it for the Pinhoti. There won't be any more videos in that series until I go back, hopefully in the fall. Once again, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. If you like what I'm doing, you appreciate the videos, you've enjoyed some of them, gotten some value out of them, please give a thumbs up, a like. Consider subscribing to the channel if you're not a subscriber, and leave a comment below, because I do like getting them. Or if you have any questions about the trail, or any planning I did, or anything I didn't do, I guess, that I could have done better, or suggestions, I would appreciate those. Once again, thank you for taking time out of your day to watch these videos. Till we meet again.